What actually keeps you logged in? And how can an app access your bank without ever seeing your password? In this video, I will explain how cookies, sessions, and tokens make your app authentication reliable and secure. So, what are cookies and sessions? To understand these concepts, we need first understand what happens when you fill out username and password and click Login button. At that point, a browser will send your credentials to the server, hopefully over HTTPS. The server will use credentials to look up the user in the database or other identity provider. If the user is found, the server can use their information to perform necessary business logic on subsequent requests. It just needs to figure out how to correlate those requests. The most common way to correlate requests is with a cookie. Cookies are small fragments of text that server includes in a response header. If a server creates a cookie with a unique ID and a browser includes this ID in the subsequent request, the server can identify those requests as related. Cookies are sent to the browser using setCookieHeader, and the header value is a cookie name and one or more attributes that tell the browser how to manage the cookie. In our example, the cookie name is session ID and the value is ABC123XYZ708. The attributes are HTTP only, secure, same site, strict, path root, and max age 600 seconds. Let's break down cookie attributes. Domain. In our case, we did not specify domain attribute. You can use it to widen the range of requests for which the browser will include a cookie. If a request is sent to users.example.com, any cookies that are returned won't be included in a request to orders.example.com. This may be a problem for some projects. To resolve this, you can specify a domain attribute and set it to example.com. This will tell the browser to include the cookie in the request to both users.example.com and orders.example.com. Expires. This attribute specifies the time and date when cookie expires. It has a specific date format you should follow. In most cases, it is easier to use maxAge attribute instead of expires. MaxAge. This attribute specifies the number of seconds until the cookie expires. This attribute takes precedence over expires attribute. HTTP only. This attribute prevents JavaScript code running in the browser to read the cookie. This is a good security feature. However, if you expect your client-side JavaScript code to read the cookie, you should not set this attribute. Path. This attribute specifies a path that must be in the URL for the browser to include the cookie. Secure. When this option is set, the browser will only include the cookie in HTTPS requests and not plain HTTP requests. This is a good security feature as well. However, when doing local development, most of your requests will be done over HTTP on local machine. I usually use environment configuration to set this attribute in production where all my requests use HTTPS. Same site. This attribute tells the browser whether the cookie should be included in cross-site requests. In another word, same-site attribute is used to control if cookie will be included in the requests that originate from outside the site that created the cookie, known as first-party or same-site context. The policy options for the same site are strict, meaning that cookies are only included for the requests made from the same website that created the cookie. Lax, which tells the browser to include cookies when following a link, but not for cross-site requests such as images on the web page. And none, which means that the cookie is always included. Now let's talk more about maxAge and expires options. These options tell the browser when to expire a cookie, meaning when not to include it in the requests. They also have different formats. maxAge is in seconds, expires has a datetime format. maxAge has precedence over expires and it is easier to use due to the format. Usually I use maxAge. Also, you should avoid using cookies without expires or maxAge. A cookie that is created without either expires or max age attributes is a session cookie, which is a bit misleading term because this type of cookie isn't especially useful for creating user sessions. Session cookie in this context means that a cookie is valid for a browsing session and will be invalidated when a user closes the browser window. Session cookies should be avoided because you let the browser to decide when to invalidate a cookie. This can produce unexpected results, especially now when browsers allow users to resurrect closed tabs. Cookies should always have either expires or max age attribute. The final point about expires and max age attributes is that they are used to invalidate, or in other words, delete cookies. When you need to delete a cookie, for example, a user logs out, you simply set expires date in the past, or if you're using max age, you set it to 0 or negative number. This will tell the browser that the cookie is invalid and it won't include it in the requests anymore. Now let's take a look at how browser sends cookies to the server. The browser includes cookies in the requests using cookie header, which contains one or more name-value pairs separated by semicolons. The attributes used with the set cookies are not included because they are simply instructions to the browser when to send the cookie. A browser request with cookies header can look something like this. Cookie session ID equals ABCD123XYZ789. Other cookie equals some value. Setting and reading cookies may seem to be a lot of work, but modern frameworks like Next.js, Remix, and Express simplify the process with built-in helpers and utilities. To save time and avoid pitfalls, always check Cookies and Sessions section in your framework's documentation. To sum it up, a cookie is really just a small piece of storage in the browser. You can save almost any kind of data inside it, and every time the browser makes a request, the data gets sent back to the server. You can even add extra protection by encrypting or signing cookies. That said, keeping full session data in the browser isn't the best approach. There are a couple of reasons for that. The first one is security. You don't really have control over what happens in the user's browser. And the second reason is storage limits. Cookies can only hold about 4 kilobytes of data, which isn't much at all. An alternative is to have the application store the data and include just reference to the data in the cookie. This allows larger amounts of data to be stored without that data being included in every request and response. Session data can be stored as a set of key-value pairs, which makes it easy to use JavaScript objects or JSONs to represent data. On the server side, sessions can live in any kind of key-value storage. If your app is running on just one server, the simplest option is to store sessions in a file right on that server. But once your app scales up and runs on multiple instances, you'll need something more reliable, like a database or a key-value store such as Redis. Most frameworks make it very flexible. They usually provide different session storage adapters that you can switch out in the configuration. So when you're developing locally, you might just use file storage, but when you deploy your app, you can easily swap that out for a database or Redis. Cookies and sessions are a super solid way to keep track of requests. They've been around forever, and they work really well. But here's the catch. They don't fit every situation. To make cookies and sessions work safely, two things have to be true. First, your server and client need to be on the same domain, basically a classic full-stack app setup. Second, you need a browser because the browser is the one that decides when to send cookies. Now that sounds fine until you think about modern apps. What about single-page applications served straight from a CDN, a totally different domain that's your API? Or what about mobile apps? They're not running in a browser at all. That's where cookies and sessions start to fall apart. And this is exactly where tokens come in. Tokens give us a way to securely correlate requests across different domains, different platforms, and even outside of the browser. Let's imagine you are installing a finance app on your phone to help track your spending. Now, do you really want to give this random app your actual bank username and password? Of course not. You don't trust the app the same way you trust your bank. So here's how it works instead. The app will redirect you to your bank's login page. You log in there just like normal, and the bank asks you, "Hey, Alex, do you want to let this app access your transactions?" You click yes, and the app doesn't get your password. It gets a token. Think of that token like a temporary password, but smarter, kind of like getting a one-day Wi-Fi pass at a hotel. The big difference is that tokens can be limited. For example, this finance app might only be allowed to view your transactions but not transfer money or mess with your account. You've probably seen something similar when you use Google, Facebook, or Microsoft to log in into another app. Same idea. You never hand over your real password, just a token. And the best part, if you ever want to cut off access, you don't have to change your password. You just revoke the token. One of the most common standards that makes this possible is OAuth, often combined with OpenID Connect and usually implemented with JWT, JSON Web Tokens, sometimes pronounced as JWTs. Now, unlike cookies and sessions, where there are just two parties, you and the server, tokens usually involve multiple parties. You trust your bank, but not necessarily the third-party app. That's why tokens follow strict standards, while sessions are more custom to the server. Another big difference is that JWTs are self-contained. They carry their own data, who you are, what access you've been granted, when the token was issued, and when it expires. And because they are cryptographically signed, no one can tamper with them. Only the authentication server can issue a valid one. Tokens are also sent differently, usually in the authorization header, not as a cookie. That makes them perfect for use cases outside the browser like mobile apps, APIs, and services talking to each other. So here's the bottom line. Sessions and cookies work great for traditional web apps. Tokens shine when you need secure access from multiple apps, domains, or platform. And in the real world, most services use both. Sessions for the website, tokens for the mobile app. That's why it is so important to understand how each works, because you'll almost always run into both. And if you want to see all this in action, cookies, sessions, tokens, OAuth, and OpenID Connect, check out my playlist React App Authentication with Amazon Cognito. It's a hands-on walkthrough where we actually build it step by step.